right, it's time for the line call this week on The Stack. And as promised, JMA is across the table from us, coming off one of the best weeks of your pickleball career in North Carolina. Thanks for being here, man. I know it's been kind of a crazy start to life back in Richmond.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, guys. It's been a while. So last time I was here, I was talking about hot dogs. So I'm hoping we're not going to talk about that today.
We are in a food court, so
yeah, we're back in our roots in the food hall here, but we're not going to talk about hot dogs. Let's talk about the experience of the event. You told us last year, you said, "Look, I'm going to challenge myself. Only PPA." Obviously, set back a little bit as you got 100% healthy, but you go down there. What were your expectations for yourself for the week, and how did the experience actually live up and exceed that?
Well, first tournament of the year, really. The expectations were just want to go there and feel healthy, be able to compete, be able to see what the level was. You are at the best tour there is for pickleball right now. Playing the qualies, I think it was beneficial for me to get a couple of rounds before I get to a main draw. And then when I was in the main draw, I never looked where I play, so I didn't know until I see a guy by the name of Tyler Loon coming into the court. I was like, oh, this is the guy I'm going to play now. So a lot of emotions, especially because these guys are really good high-level players. And I felt that the only way to be able to provide that level of experience for myself is that I need to just make that person be faceless. I didn't care about the background. I didn't care about what he done. Good for him, but I'm here to play, and I'm here to put my game into place. And to be able to make such a good run I'm pretty excited and glad to be able to do so.
There was one thing that you and I talked about. I think it must have been the day after your match with Tyler Loong, getting ready for Jack Sock. And you mentioned that you continually kept yourself from looking at your opponent. I know you briefly mentioned it here during that last answer, but how do you – can you practice that? Can people learn how to really block out everything else and just focus on themselves, or do you think that may be more of a God-given trait?
No, not at all. I think the first game when I was playing Tyler and he beat me 11-3, I was like, well, Jhonnatan, you don't get better. He's going to beat you even faster. So I decided that if I want to be able to have a good time, I have to perform better. So I changed a little of my game style. I play a little bit less tennis player style, drop, changing pace, and be able to make me feel a little more uncomfortable in order for him to feel uncomfortable as well. And it got to a point that I was able to look at him and his demeanor changed. So I felt that I was doing something right. And from there, I wanted to explore it, and then I was able to take the win. But overall, you're playing against the best in the world. And at the same time, you got to be grateful to have the opportunity. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to disrespect them because I have to. This is the only way I'm going to be able to play at their level. If I respect them too much, then it's going to become harder for me to play 100%.
It's interesting. Joe and I both come from team sports backgrounds, and you watch a ton of film, and you have shoot-around, and you have walkthrough, and you know tendencies, and you do all of that. Why is pickleball different or why are you different, potentially, where you don't want to know who it is coming in, and how difficult was that with the progressive draw where everyone in the world, including me, is texting you like, hey, we got Jack Sock tomorrow, buddy. Let's go.
I think that my mind is thinking, if I know who I'm going to play, I'm going to spend the next 8 hours thinking about the match. So when I go to the actual match, how much capacity my mind's going to have that is going to allow me to just reset certain patterns, because I've been non-stop thinking about the outcome of something that is in the future. So by not thinking about it and seeing the guy right in front of me, I'm going to be able to have enough mental capacity to use it 100%. And in tennis, back in the day, I was always overthinking it. So when I go to the court, I was already exhausted mentally. So I decided, you know what? We got a ball, we got a paddle. There's going to be some deviation here and there. But if I'm able to feel as a competitor 100% when things get hard, I'm going to be flexible enough to feel better to make the tough choices. That I felt that some of them, they were hard to feel, okay, now it's time to make something different. So I think that's one of the things that I do.
Do you think that approach may have contributed to losing the first game in all three of those matches that you won, or is just kind of dumb luck that you lost the first and won the next two?
They just played really good pickleball. If you see the film, I was able to look a little bit after. I mean, they were just on top of the game. I think when it prolongs, if you win the first game, I think a lot of people relax themselves, and I thought, okay, now I know the data shows what he's able to play, and I'm gonna now break something different. Now we go to the third game. Most of them, they know that I'm not gonna get tired because physically, that is one of my biggest traits. And I think at that point, I was able to be more accurate on my decisions when I was playing.
Joe and I were talking about this while you were down there playing last week on the podcast. This is my favorite thing to do. I like to speak for you and pretend that I know exactly what you're thinking. No, but we've been going through this journey with you in terms of changing paddle sponsors and our sponsorship and just trying to find those allies to gear up. And you found one in Holbrook. I know the process and all of that. I won't go into all the details. But it felt to me that once that Holbrook deal came into place, there was kind of this weight lifted off of you, like, okay, now I know what I'm using, why I'm using it, here's the partnership. Is that accurate in terms of kind of feeling a little bit lighter on top of being healthy when you got down there?
Absolutely. Having a paddle that you love and you feel is going to be there for you in the tough moments is really important. I think the Holbrook paddle, for me, had all the benefits that I needed coming from my last paddle. The defense, the ability to be able to generate acceleration on point of contact, the part that when somebody was speeding up to me and me going with my paddle had the same type of response. That's something that it really enhanced my ability of be able to feel I can play you because my paddle's right there with me. So thank you so much to the Holbrook family for giving me the opportunity to play. And it's just the paddle feels so right every time I hit it. Every time I use it, I was like, man, I'm so glad.
Still staying with the tournament itself, there's a lot of really positive things that come from being on that stage, even though it took a couple of days to get to a streamed stage. That's a different point. But what are some of the things that people who have never been to one of those or been involved in as a player or a spectator, we know what the positives can be. What are some of the things that can still be improved on from a pickleball tournament perspective at the highest level? Because this is still a sport that's constantly growing and changing every single day. So just because the PPA is the top of the heap when it comes to the type of player and the level of player that's consistently on that tour, there's got to be some things that could be improved overall, right?
Right. I think that for me, exposure is important. Everybody's trying to get sponsored. It's not cheap to play pickleball. We're talking about $600 to sign up at the pro level. If you do that for 10 tournaments, that's $6,000. That's a lot of money. So for a guy like me who's really trying to put himself out there, the tournament should be allowed to expose a little more here and there when it comes to, hey, Jhonnatan, you had a great run. What can we do to cater? You're still a pro. You're one of the other pros, but that's the thing that I've been struggling on both tours. That I feel that at some point I have to work my way up to a place that I can get that respect, and I use that as energy to keep trying. The tournament is well run the majority of the time. Sometimes because there's so many people playing, you gotta go to different courts. The course I was playing in the beginning, they were on tape. So 2 or 3 games, the tape was already gone. So you have to kind of struggle with the environment, which it cannot be easy sometimes. But overall, I'm just grateful. Grateful for my wife and to be able to allow me to do it, because without her, I would not be able to travel because of my son. As well for performance, the sponsorship allows me to go there and play. And the most important part, I can come to my dojo at 5 o'clock in the morning and have time for me. That as a pro player, you need time for yourself. You definitely do.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely do, but like you said, the economics sometimes don't add up. You pay $600 to get in, and you essentially have to medal in that tournament in order to make that a profitable decision. I know there's other things that go into it. You're getting sponsorship and exposure that way, and whatever. I don't go into those dynamics, but the point is, when you come back here to Richmond, there's still elements. I know you want to share the game and you want to teach the game to people of all levels, but there's also a necessity about the things that we're creating in terms of that money has to come in elsewhere outside of the competition realm.
Correct. It's important. I mean, I can be completely honest. After doing the best run of my life and beating top 10 players on the PPA, I'm going to get a check for $200. So I'm already 1,500 under.
Oh, my gosh.
Just on the 5 day of a tournament. And that's what the people that are listening, I love the people want to play the pro level, but you have to understand what the dynamics are. This is an investment that you got to do for your own branding, which I think it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But that's what you have, $200. I mean, what can I really do with that?
That's absurd. Oh my gosh, to play through the qualifiers and to get I still can't believe that number. And I've known about this number for 24 hours, and it blows my mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a non-contract player, the PPA will take 50% of my profits for every if I get any type of money coming from them. And at the end of the day, that's the rules. And I'm not playing. I mean, I would love to be able to gather that money to continue to play, but my goal is being answer the question that I said to myself when I started playing pickleball. Can I play at the highest level? Can I play with Tyson? Can I play with Ben? Can I play with JMA, Jack Sock? And coming from a humble perspective, being in this beautiful city as Richmond, that we have performance that allow me to be able to train. I mean, these guys are playing against the best every single week. They have unlimited resources. What I love about what I have a performance is I was able to create something so unique that it allows me to have what I need for my own skin and from my own perspective of getting better.
And you've also been allowed to create some hybrid training. The JMA Experience is already in round 2, which is awesome. I was over there watching you guys for a few moments. Joe was participating. I was spectating.
Joe's looking great, by the way.
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll save that for later in the show when we break down that aspect of Joe. How gratifying has that been? Because the talent level has been high to low. I don't want to say that. It's just not. You're just over there teaching pro players. You're helping everyday players get into better shape. But then also, we're about to extrapolate and introduce some Masters series and some camps and some other aspects of the instruction, and we're really getting into the position where we wanted to be, where there's an entire lineup of Jhonnatan Medina Alvarez training available.
Correct. The sport, in my opinion, is being created by the reg person, the reg players. You know, the 2.5, they play for 2 minutes and say, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. We need to cater them. We need to say, you know, as a pro player, I'm there for you. And it's a beautiful thing to go and see them getting better at their agility, and, you know, the coordination, the balance. And then when you go and see them play, they see the improvement. And for me, it is priceless to see that growth. And because of having that dojo performance, I think that we are the only ones who have that ability to be able to go on the court and get out of the court right there. You're going to have the equipment that you require to continue to get better, but it's based on pickleball. It's just extremely defined to pickleball players, not just to get in shape for just your daily life, but for pickleball.
I think I know the answer to this because I have been in the JMA Experience, but you also get a chance from that perspective in this program to see, as John mentioned, a wide array of skill level, but also maybe what this area player needs to work on overall. Like, what have you noticed trends-wise when people walk in and we're working on dinks, then we're going to drives and drops and through all those pieces of the game? What's something that maybe this area should be considering to work on as opposed to what they might be doing now? What are you seeing as a trend that maybe needs to be fixed?
I think the biggest thing that I notice is a lot of people are extremely aggressive, extremely offensive players. I realize that by playing at the highest level, the better defended player you are, actually you're a better offensive player. Because you're going to have to defend. Let's think about it. You're closer to another person. He's going to have a paddle right there. It's going to go right to your face. So how can you defend that shot and then be good enough to reset that, have an opportunity, and come on top on the point? So one of the things that we do in the JMAX is to learn how to have a lot of control based on the emotions. For example, today, what we were doing, you got to do 100 balls, and if you miss it on the net, you go back to 0, and you have 10 minutes. So that constant feeling of pressure when you go on a game, you're not going to feel that gap because you're in training exactly how you're going to be able to feel when you go to a game. So I like to keep it as closest to the chest as possible because I want people to feel like, hey, you know what? You want to go and play for 40 dinks on this point? I'm right there. I can do it. Let's go. I feel that that's the need that we need to cater our community. Less aggressive and more learning how to create points that's going to allow you to set up good strategies.
Let's talk Masters Series, because I know you're passionate about this, and I love what it represents, because a lot of times we'll say, all right, here's another clinic, or this is a all-encompassing program or whatever else, but this really hits on more than just this is how to hit a forehand dink or this is how to get consistent. That is an aspect of it, but it's essentially a 4-part series. Technical mastery, which is, again, some of that formatics and the shot shaping and those things. Strategic mastery, which I think sometimes a lot of people overlook and just think really happens, and it's hard when you're playing with different people or you're mixing in sessions. And then the physical mastery, of course, is that other aspect of that, and the mental mastery, which we all overlook, including me. But you put all those together, we're going to offer them, if you feel like you're deficient in one area and you want to really hone that aspect, you can take it, or you can do the entire series, which is what we recommend. Right. Where did you come up with this conceptualization, and how cool is it now that we're just picking dates now, and then it's going to be available?
Right. Well, what people have to understand is I do this for myself. So I'm the guinea pig. I'm going to do it to see if it's actually can be replicated to any level. So if you know the technique, if you know how to be able to correct or fix the stroke in a given time, then that means that you're always going to look for opportunities to be able to be better. The part of how to do it with a stroke is the second part. You need to know, okay, I'm hitting a dink. Okay, where is this dink supposed to go? Based on the score, based on the data, based on the player. You need to be able to become like kind of detective, to be able to know how you're going to implement that shot that is going to be beneficial to yourself and your partner. The mental part is that as we're getting along the way to the match, to the game, we're getting emotional. If you miss 2 dinks, you're feeling, oh my God, I'm letting my partner down. They are right now attacking me from both sides. How can I handle the pressure? One of the things that I tell to myself every time is be in the moment, be present. If you miss a couple of shots, you're not missing, you're searching. I'm trying to reteach myself that it's not a mistake. I'm looking for things that are going to allow me to be better. And that's the mindset that I tell everybody. I never make mistakes. I'm always looking, searching, looking for things to be better. And the physical part is, today, for example, we're working on the dink, and I told one of my players is, buy some time, make a movement, anticipate, use your body as a way to be able to hit the ball in a more flexible and natural way. The more natural you are with your body, the less tight your body will get, and then the technique will break down. It's kind of like a change of events, really. Mm-hmm. So everything that I designed for the JMA, for the master classes, I done it to myself. I said again at 5 o'clock in the morning when everything is in the shadows, I'm there, like a vigilante.
An 80s music absorbing vigilante.
That's right.
Thank God for 80s music.
Oh, yes. Well, you mentioned the physical part. I do want to bring up something that happened on the Twitter sphere, X, whatever it's called.
Just Twitter. Give it up, Elon.
Yeah. This happened last week. Christian Alshon, former tennis player, a lot of tennis players in the pickleball world, mentioning that overall he feels that he's in better shape as a pickleball player, his whole body, than he ever was as a tennis player. And naturally, the tennis world didn't like to hear that. James Blake was the first one. Andy Roddick got involved. A lot of people disputing that also aren't in the pickleball world. So you're in both, or you have reason to talk about both because you were high-level tennis. Now you're high-level pickleball. Is there an actual argument to be made, or are they just so different that it doesn't really correlate? You can't really have that argument.
It's a tough decision to be able to come to an agreement. I play Davis Cup. It's 3 out of 5 sets. That's 4 to 5 hours on a match, and you can only be done when you're gonna be done. You work a lot of anaerobic and aerobic endurance because you have to last. In pickleball, I think that you gain a lot of great improvements on your agility, coordination, and balance. Because sometimes you get in these weird positions in order for you to be able to defend or attack the ball. Sometimes when you're in the kitchen and you really wanted to get that flick, you have one leg in the air, the arm is behind you, you're trying to be able to hit without getting in the kitchen. So I believe that maybe his remarks were based on what he feels right now. But I think that if you're playing clay court on the Roland Garros, you're going to have to be in extremely good shape to be able to withhold 2 weeks of playing the seven toughest guys you ever play. So I think it's just a matter of, I think that it's beneficial. If I was today playing tennis professionally, I would use pickleball to enhance some other things that I will not get from tennis. You have a lot of space in tennis. When you're bowling, you have time.
Mm-hmm.
In pickleball, you don't have time. So I think that his remarks were based on his current feeling, and I think he's trying to get some likes at the same time. And a lot of people like the whole drama,
Yes.
there's our
Especially
lives.
between pickleball and tennis in general, there's just natural drama there. So it worked from his perspective, if that's what he wanted.
Yeah, but more as it pertains to pickleball. Like you said, you play a 5-set match at Wimbledon or whatever, it's going to be 3.5 hours or something like that. The point is it becomes its own sporting event. When I sit down to watch the Grand Slam final in tennis, I'm getting the snacks, I'm getting with my buddies, I'm making my morning around it or whatever the case may be. We felt that this week because we were organizing watch parties and we were sitting in the kitchen RVA, we're all fired up to watch you play, and then good, bad, or indifferent, it's over in 25 minutes. Like, what's the workaround for that, for pickleball, to make it last a little longer? I know that, like with tournaments on our level, it doesn't work because we got so many people coming in, you're cycling them in and out, and you got a limited number of courts and all of that. But at the pro level, like, would you like to see it go to a longer type format?
It will be great for me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the progressive is better for the body.
No, I don't even necessarily mean that. I'm talking about like, hey, we're going to play best 4 out of 7, or we're, just lengthen the actual confrontation.
Yeah, because it definitely hinders the audience entertainment value. If you're 5 minutes late, you've missed half the match.
Yeah, and then for example, during the entire tournament, I was playing indoors, and the last game that I played was outdoors, so I didn't really have enough time to get used to it.
Right.
And it was really windy day. That doesn't mean that's the reason why I lost, but I'm saying that if you have a little more time, you can adjust a little better.
Correct.
The other thing is that about his comments is the people that he was getting in a Twitter fight was people that actually embrace in pickleball. Andy Roddick, James Blake is an owner of an MLB team.
Right.
Nick Kyrgios is an owner. So I think that at some point we have to be more responsible as being in position of leadership as pros, where people are listening to what we're saying, because instead of being united as a racket sport, because tennis is the mother of all the sports. Mm-hmm. And then from there, everything is kind of evolving to new things. I think that should be the perspective. So we don't fight from play. So somebody wants to come in performance and play some pickup and they wants to play some tennis. I will embrace that, because in the end, they're staying in the sport.
Right. Well, I think that will do it for this time around. I mean, I'm almost out of film, if you will, at this point. Some tape. No, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time for this. I know when you take that much time away, there's a lot to catch up on when you get back home. Yep. So thanks to you, your wife, even your little son. He doesn't know it yet, but we appreciate him as well.
My guy.
Yes. And where are you going to be going next? I guess Ladybug, right? That's the next tournament for you.
Ladybug. It was funny because the PPA offered me a contract, and the contract stated that if I take the contract, I can never, ever play anything in anywhere at all. And I said, I'm not leaving behind all the people, my city, just to say I have a PPA contract. So I decline respectfully, and until they can change their minds, I will continue to play any tournament that we're hosting, because that's the only way we're going to grow the sport in our city.
We appreciate that, and I wasn't given a part of that decision, but I was happy that you made it.
Yeah, right. Well, he only gave me 3 minutes to think about it. So.
No, man, in all sincerity, we were really proud of you. That was a lot of fun. It kind of hit like a lightning bolt around here and was gathering throughout the course of the week. What time's Jhonnatan playing? And more people were figuring it out and coming over. So, yeah, keep it up, man, and we'll keep supporting.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back here on Friday and spend time with people. I want to just share more of the stories, because I feel that everybody deserves to be the best they can be. It doesn't matter if you have a job, a kid, or whatever. You can still be the best version of yourself. Don't give up on your dreams.